This is Certified Sommelier John Alanis, and welcome to part 2 of my whole bottle review of the Dunn Howell Mountain. As you can see, the bottle is quite empty, and I thoroughly enjoyed this whole bottle. It was actually a very interesting bottle and a very fun bottle to review. I'm going to call this bottle the Walter White Wine, and here's why. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad, there are 5 seasons in Breaking Bad. There are five 5-ounce glasses of wine in a bottle. So, like Breaking Bad, there are 5 components to this. Just like Breaking Bad, you know, the first 2 seasons of that show are good, but kind of barely good enough to keep watching, nothing special. And that really was kind of the same thing for the first 2 glasses of this bottle. I thought it was good. It was a little bit bitter on the finish, actually, but I didn't think it was really anything special. However, I have had that happen with really good wine before, where it can be a little bit bitter on the finish, and it's not always an indicator, but it's sometimes an indicator that a little bit on down the line, it's suddenly going to come to life. And this is what happened with that. Now, look, I would prefer my wines to be magical from the very first sip. And so the thing to do when that happens is sometimes it has to do with the length of decant. Sometimes. I decanted this thing for an hour after aerating it. Maybe if I'd done it 2 or even 3 hours, the bitterness wouldn't have been the case. But I think there's something else going on there, because I've done wine sometimes 2-3 hours, still had to fight through some bitterness on the end, and was rewarded with just a magical experience. And what I think happens is it's like going to the gym where you have to do some warm-up sets. You can't go in and start just lifting heavy weights. Your mind isn't in tune, your body isn't ready. And the same thing happens with the wine. You have to do some warm-up sets, particularly in a very fine wine like the Dunn Howell Mountain. When you open it, even decant it, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. It's being oxygenated, it's opening up, it's coming to life. And when you take a sip of that stuff, it's literally changing in your mouth. And so your neurology has to begin to catch up. Every sip is different, and it can confuse your neurology a little bit. Hence, I think that's where some of the bitterness comes from. But as you begin to go through the wine and it begins to open up and calm down a little bit, your neurology begins to catch up and get into phase with the wine. And that's where the magic really starts to happen. And starting with glass 3, this is where the magic really started to happen. In Breaking Bad Season 3, it just takes off like a rocket ship. In Season 4, it's some of the most compelling TV you're ever going to watch. Season 5 is just remarkable, and the last 3 episodes of Season 5 are absolutely unforgettable. And this is the same thing that happened with this wine. Right around glass 3, wow, it started to get good. The bitterness blew off, the finish kind of came together, it was long. The wine was almost, I could say, light in my mouth, even though it's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It had an elegance, it had a purity to it. Every sip into the 3rd glass began to evolve, began to change. I began to look forward to it. And this kind of what I would call an energetic exuberance really began to come over me. And to me, that is a tell for a magical bottle. Does it produce an emotion in you that you haven't experienced before? And this one really did. And so what happened was, as I went through the bottle, it kind of felt like I was going up to the top of a plateau. Not a big spike, not a high, but it literally felt like the best thing I can come up with is energetic exuberance. And so I came up, and with the last glass, it kind of plateaued, where I just felt really energetic, really happy. And then at the end of the glass, I was a little bit sad because I wanted 2 more glasses to see where this thing was going to go. And usually after I'm done with a bottle of wine, I like to listen to some music, drink a lot of water, maybe watch a movie or something sometimes. This wine put me into such an unusual emotional state that I literally just sat on the couch for 2-3 hours before I went to bed, just enjoying this remarkable feeling that I had never felt before. Again, the only way that I can describe it is just like an energetic exuberance. I didn't feel like I was drunk or inebriated or bereft of my senses. I actually felt very clear-headed, very clear-minded, very sharp, but at the same time, it was this wonderful, calm, yet energetic exuberance that was just like riding a wave. That's a great description of it. I was just kind of riding the top of the wave all the way up until I went to bed. So this bottle of Dunn Howell Mountain right here, the 2019, for me, it was absolutely a magical bottle, and like all magical bottles, it came on in a very unexpected way. Now, will you have the same experience if you drink it? Probably not, but will you have something, an experience come upon you that is equally as enjoyable, as equally as magical? I think it probably will. So Dunn 2019 Howell Mountain, definitely a magical bottle, highly recommended.